Goodness to you, everybody. This is Sporty King, and I say goodness because I don't know whether you're watching morning, afternoon, or evening. But isn't it great to have good in front of your salutation? Welcome to Gift Friday. I created it because so often we hear TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. Yet I say, what allure does Friday have to the person who took their last breath on Thursday? Or any day before that for that matter. So I use what I've learned through Psalm 92 and 2. It is good to proclaim your unfailing love in the morning, your faithfulness in the evening. Therefore, instead of TGIF, I use TGIT. Thank God it's today. And TGIT. Thank God it's tonight. Thus, the lesson that I learned from Matthew 6 and 34. So don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will bring its own worries. Thank God it's tonight. Today's trouble is enough for today. Thank God it's today. Consider instead another use of TGIF, and that is trusting God is free. Think about it. What does it cost to be blessed with the greatest gift of the day? Waking up. Doesn't cost you a dime. And that still moves us into realizing that when we move the T in TGIF from the front to the end, what we get is TGIFT. And what we should be really giving God thanks for, and that is today. Thus, GIFT, God is for today. Gift Friday is the online sharing of one of my original poems and its possible usage to inspire audiences online, in person, and in your heart. Each poem will then be my gift to you. Here, you'll hear me read it and then share this week's gift. If you'd like a copy of it, you could therefore, if you're on Facebook or LinkedIn, email me at sporty@sportyking.com, or if you're on YouTube or my website, you can just drop that request in the chat. Those of you on Facebook and LinkedIn, the reason I say email me the request, if you're not already on my mailing list, and you know if you are, that therefore when I respond, it won't go into your spam folder because I'll be responding to you. So if it's your first time, email me that request at sporty@sportyking.com. If you know that you're already on my mailing list, then you can just drop that request right in the thread and I'll send you a copy. Not a problem at all. But today, we're going to continue through this pandemic. And yes, I will be one of the people to remind you that we still are in the pandemic. It's not over. But with this pandemic, what many people have learned new things about themselves and their beliefs. So I've chosen a poem that speaks to the plight of being empathetic. This week's poem is from my book, I Found Out I'm Dying, a celebration of life. And in fact, it highlights one of the messages in the title of the book. You see, the title shows how often we get caught up in the headlines and miss the message in the subtitles of victory. The book is not at all about dying. I found out I'm dying. I found out. See, because each of us has been dying from the day we're born physically. Get over it. It's about the fact that life, LIFE, lessons intended for everyone. This book is about living. What I do to celebrate, because I know that there's the chance that I will die from natural causes or some other reason, which I may not know about. And you've heard me state that I think it's one of the most important lessons, what I think is one of the most important lessons, and that is choosing your messenger carefully and knowing that you are carefully being chosen as a messenger. On both ends of that spectrum, it's important to know who you are so that you can know how to choose and bless someone who chooses you. So the poem title today is Don't You Realize That You Don't Know Me? And it will highlight the unwritten subtitle of how assumptions and judgment play a role in our lessons. You see, this is one of my signature original poems. God, I haven't read it in a while. That I wrote it actually at age 14 and still have it as a message today. So that to that person that gets on our nerves at one time or another in our lives. I dedicated it to my mother. Yep, I dedicated it to my mother because it haunted me to hear her say, what I think parents, I think you'll learn this at PU, Parent University. I know you. I raised you. And I'm going to pause and hesitate and see if you can finish this next line for me. I know you. I brought you into this world, and even if you don't type fast, you can put a laugh in there. I brought you into this world, and I'll take you out and make another one like you. My mother used to add that to it. I'll take you out and make another one like you. So even as you hear the defiant teenager talking to his mother in my mind, not through my lips, you'll also hear others who've proclaimed to know you. Siblings, relatives, friends, teachers, and you'll also hear yourself because you've done it to someone else as well. You've judged somebody by the headlines instead of the subtitles as well. Here is, don't you realize that you don't know me? How many times have I heard, I knew you'd do that. It figures you'd say that. Please don't tell me that you know me because you only insult my intelligence. Don't you realize that you don't know me? Have I so shallow a mind that you can pick me apart at will? Are my actions really predictable while looking through your drinking glass crystal ball? Is my voice really always monotone? Don't you realize you don't know me? Don't you realize that you only know what I let you know? And don't you realize that I could never let you know me, even if I wanted to? Because I don't really know myself. Don't you realize you don't know me? Don't you know that what you knew I do, I didn't know I do, even if I did what I did, like you knew I do it? And don't you know that what you figured I'd say, I didn't figure I'd say, even after I said what I said, like you figured I'd say it? Don't you realize you don't know me? Don't you realize that you don't know me? And think about it in slow motion. Don't you know? No. Don't you know that what you knew I do, I didn't know I do. Even after I did what I did, like you figured I'd do it. And don't you know that what you figured I'd say, I didn't figure I'd say. Even after I said what I said, like you figured I'd say it. Don't you realize you don't know me? And isn't that true? Can anybody really know you? Yet more importantly, do you know yourself? Do you know your best smile? Do you know your greatest strength? Do you know how you bless so many by knowing and being who you are? And did you hear yourself? Did you hear yourself knowing who someone else was? You see, this is not a time for separation based on our differences. It's a time for sensitivity to our direction. That's why I put that up there a little early. If we know ourselves and one another, and each person knows who they are, we'll recognize this is not a time for separation. It's a time for sensitivity based on our sensitivity to our direction of where we're supposed to be going because we're somebody's messenger. All of us are going through something and have been through some things. And we've never made it through alone, even when we thought we did, or even when we thought we were alone. One of my daily prayers is that I can be less judgmental because I know I'll never make it to being non-judgmental. And you know what? Spell check even tried to know me and tell me that I spelled judgmental wrong when I added the E in the second spelling. But you can spell judgmental both ways. So take that extra breath to listen and learn what it's like to be Then choose how you want people to listen and learn what it's like to be you. Because don't you know that you should really know you? If you like a copy of the poem, again, if you're on YouTube, I'm sorry, if you're on Facebook or LinkedIn, send me an email request at sporty@sportyking.com. You're on YouTube or on my website, just drop it in the thread. And again, those of you who know, if you're on my mailing list, you can drop that in the thread as well. Look, I thank you for enjoying Gift Friday. God is for today, because there's always that good news of what it's all about. So remember, God is for today, and TGIT. Have a great weekend. Ciao.